Event organizers, get ready to level up. You're listening to the Event Academy Live podcast, where we elevate motivated event organizers. This podcast is brought to you by Fusion, all the event ticketing features and support you need for one low price. Check them out at getfusionsolutions.com. Now, it's time for your host, Jake Spurley.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Event Academy Live. I've got David here from 13th Acre. It's like a haunted experience, but it's not even just a small one. It's like the 13th acre, not the 12th, not the 14th, but it's the 13th acre. And then it's taken off so big, they had to shut down all their other attractions just to accommodate the demand that the 13th acre has. Look, I'm looking forward to hearing what this thing's all about. And I feel like I'm on a haunted attraction spree right now, but I'm particularly looking forward to this one. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, you bet, man. So for people that don't know the 13th acre, I know you gave me a quick little rundown off camera, but catch the folks up to speed. I guess, who are you? Like, what's your background in kind of the haunt world or the events world? And then tell them a little bit about the 13th acre.
So my name is David DeBerardinas. I've been a lifelong horror enthusiast. I'm an author, and recently I'm a haunt actor. I got involved with the 13th Acre. It was a local haunt that's right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. It used to be a offshoot of the Aw Shucks farm experience. However, now Aw Shucks has ceased to exist. The haunt has grown so big that it has replaced our seasonal events. It was a 45-minute trail through the woods walking. However, now this year in 2023, we will actually have 3 different experiences, a corn maze, and then 2 haunted attraction trail style experiences with totally different themings that we'll be introducing in the 2023 year.
This seems like just a land of get scared. Like, it's not just one attraction. It's like a whole complex. I assume it's all outdoors, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, we do build like makeshift buildings for different themed areas. But for the most part, yes, there's a lot of trail going in through these small temporary, I guess you could call them, buildings, and then through the woods some more and stuff like that, or the corn maze or different areas outside.
So you said there's about 3 different haunted attractions that people can actually go through. So it's not just one big one. You have like a couple separate ones.
Yeah, so that's what's making this year different from the previous years. Is previously, right, 2022 and beyond, you would come to the 13th Acre, you'd buy one ticket, and you get to go through one experience. Now, obviously, this 45-minute trail has a bunch of different themes. So you see clowns and butchers from the slaughterhouses and creepy dolls and all kinds of things in different areas as you kind of go along this 45-minute trail. But this is, we wanted to give more to the people, right? So we totally destroyed what everyone knew of the 13th Acre. No longer exists. It's destroyed. We spent all winter sort of taking it down. And now in the new year, we are opening 3 different experiences, all with different houses and stuff like that in there. There's going to be the Coffin Creek Trail, which I believe is going to be our new age. So like in the haunt world, without getting too deep too quickly, right? There's a few different types of scare tactics, right? You have your classic, which was what we were known for, your backwoods kind of people jumping out, gore, violence, all that kind of crazy stuff. And then you have your new age stuff, which is your animatronics and your pneumatics and all this kind of stuff. So that's the Coffin Creek experience. The 13th Acre, the new 13th Acre experiences is going to be our classic thing, just rebuilt scenes. And then we're going to have a corn maze experience as well.
Wow. So it sounds like you really have something for everybody.
We try to make it that way. I mean, even outside of, say, it's all about entertainment, right? So there are 3 different haunted trail experiences you can go on, but we also have like a casino bar that we have an old train car on set. We're reamping that. We're planning to have live music, right? So there's all different types of events that come with going to the 13th Acre, right? It's not just a haunted trail anymore. There's you can spend a whole night there. I mean, the stuff that we have planned is insane.
I was talking to another haunted house. It was actually earlier today, and he was talking about how they've really expanded their offering to not just be a haunted house, a haunted attraction, but opening it up a little bit more to like that family experience where kids or families, they don't necessarily want to be scared, but they still want to see all the cool things that haunts have to offer as far as animatronics, sets, all that sort of stuff. Are you guys offering something similar to that? Or I guess, tell me about that.
Yeah, so with that kind of stuff, we're a little bit different. We in some ways, we've actually gone the reverse from that, right? Because we did start out as a family-friendly pumpkin patch farm type of thing, and we shut all that down to open up the rest of the experiences. So almost ironically, we've gone in the reverse of that. But there are still experiences for those who aren't in it to get scared. There's a lot of people who come who, as a haunt actor during haunt season, I've seen it firsthand. People have panic attacks and have to be rushed out or whatever. So there is a package that we're offering that you can just go in and sort of meet some of our iconic characters without having to go through any of the mazes or anything like that. Like I said, there's going to be bars on site and live music. So there are other experiences as well. But I think the agro-tourism thing that we were going for initially, the pumpkin patches and stuff like that, that's gone. So, like I said, in a very ironic way, we've almost flipped the script on that one.
Right. So I guess coming from the actor side of this event, talk to me a little bit about what do you see works well? I guess from being the one that's kind of like the performer, you have a different perspective on a lot of event organizers. A lot of people listening to this podcast, they aren't the ones singing, they aren't the ones actually getting out there scaring people. I guess give the listeners a little tidbit, like what are things that you would recommend to an organizer to maybe suggest to their entertainer, or maybe things that you, the entertainer, do a little bit differently that you find is well received by the attendees?
Yeah, so like I said, obviously during haunt season, I am a haunt actor, but in the rest, in off season, right, I'm a creative director, actually train a lot of our staff, right? So this question comes up a lot of like, okay, well, as somebody who's actually in there, what do I recommend? And to give you a general answer, for general event planning, which would fit the format of this, I guess I can recommend to have policies in place. In the haunt world, literally anything that you can think can happen is going to happen and so much more. So having policies in place for when things happen, such as when people call out, right? What are you going to do? Especially in a haunted house situation, if you have 3 guys working one room and then 2 of them call out one night, what are you going to do? Right? You can't in emergency events or maybe not emergency, but catastrophic events, you have to know exactly what's going to happen, especially if you want your event to get bigger, right? Because you might be able to manage things on the wing with smaller scale events. But if you're planning for your event to grow, have policies in place beforehand, before you open the doors for anything that you can imagine. Obviously, there's going to be things that get through the cracks, and that's part of the learning experience. But just understanding, okay, this is what we're doing with new hires. This is how we're training everybody, right? Because a lot of places, the training, especially with new events, not even just in the haunt world, are going to be more on the whim. Okay, you train as you go, and they don't really get a formalized training experience. And I think training is everything. Okay, what are we doing about security? Having policies for that. I think having formatted policies from the start is 100% the way to go.
I think those oftentimes get missed because a lot of event organizers are A, way too busy with other things that are also important, and B, they just don't know really like where to start with that. And this is something that I haven't talked about in a long time, so I'm glad you brought it up. If I'm a brand new event organizer, first year, what do you think are those first couple steps to actually starting to formulate those policies and procedures, like from a clean slate?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So as a first-time event organizer, which in some ways I can relate to, obviously I came onto an event that was already well established. However, this is sort of my first rodeo being on this side of things as opposed to the actor side of things, right? I would first and foremost establish, obviously as an event organizer, you're going to know what you're trying to do, whether, like you said, concerts or music festivals or conventions or whatever you're trying to host. You have your goal, your outline of what you're trying to do originally, okay? And now you're going to want to look almost like you have a big picture, but what about the gear pieces to make it work? We have a roadmap. Let's design a roadmap, if you will. You have an end goal. You want your music festival or your haunted attraction or whatever your event is. You have that at the end. That's the success point. That's where we're going to end up on the end of the journey. And now you're starting here. And how do we get from here to here? And I feel like breaking that up into small steps, maybe making like a chart and making like 5 big overall categories, that are more reliant on your particular event. So like security or safety or training, right? And then breaking down how do we do all those different things. So just starting broad and then just narrowing it in, I think is the best strategy.
It's almost like taking all your ideas that you have and throwing it on a board, just brain dumping it all, and then coming back, kind of organizing it, making that plan, and then working down from there. I always tell my answer to that is kind of similar, but it's very much walk through your own experience. And so for our customers that use our ticketing or cashless product, we literally create a event operations guide, and it's basically step by step exactly how it's going to be run. Like if anybody has any questions, it's on that document. It's actually formulated from one of my former employees that worked for the U.S. military, who's a Marine, and it's literally the same format that the U.S. Marines use. So it's pretty dang solid. But it literally starts from, all right, Bob walks through the door. Now what? From him walking through the door or even parking his car, like is there a process there? Yes or no? No? Okay, proceed. What's the next step in his journey? You really walk through the journey. And somebody that's great to do it in real life. It sounds silly and it's going to look even sillier, but it's literally walk through that process and just document every little thing. Hey, there's a cord right here that needs to be covered up. We need to put that on the document. Or there could be a failure point here, right? Let's document that. If this fails, then what, right? And it's always great. It saved our bacon many, many times of somebody has a question, it's right there. There are no questions because everybody has a copy of the document. They can find it in there. It's a done deal. I'll preface all that with creating this stuff sucks and it's really boring and it takes a lot of time. So I know why nobody does it, but I mean, you said it yourself. It's crucial, right? Like you have to have it, and I'll say it myself as well. It's saved me multiple times, and also just creates like there's no questions, right? It's all right there on that document. It's just right there. You follow it.
What I was saying is exactly there's and with events and everything like this, especially your first time doing this, we're talking about your first time doing this type of stuff. Unfortunately, you're not going to get everything, right? There's still going to be a cord somewhere that's not taped down, right? That unless you are absolutely perfect, there's going to be something that you are going to find during the actual event that you're like, oh, I could do better on that, right? And then that's the game of improvement. I mean, you're going to get better as the years go on. But having those processes down early, that's going to rock it. That's how you rock it. That's how you get ready for the big day. And that's how you're going to kill the event, is because walk through the event, outline the event, outline everything that you're going to do, everything that the customer is going to see, everything like that. And I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. So do you know how many people come to your haunt every year? Roughly?
I don't know the number offhand. I know last year was a record year for us. It was insane. I mean, which was crazy because in the haunt industry, right, there's a huge horror convention that is a industry-based convention for haunted attractions. It's called Transworld. It's in St. Louis every year. And I went there and, I was talking with other haunt owners, and some people did insanely well last year in 2022, I mean. And some people did not so well. And we were one of the people that were very fortunate, and we did very, very well last year. I mean, we were hitting like a few thousand people some nights. It was crazy.
Yeah. So talk to me about your marketing strategy for that. Like, are you guys running paid social ads? Like, how are you getting these people to your events?
Well, we kind of have a few benefits, and in North Carolina, the haunts are few and far between, right? So when haunt season comes around, we're kind of hard to miss, right? And especially being 14 years in the business, everyone in the surrounding area kind of knows about us. And like I said, with last year being our most promoted event, I know there's other haunts in the area. There's a big one. I'm not going to name drop, but there is a big one who runs like YouTube ads and stuff. They make like their own thing. And I'm like, I don't know. We haven't done anything like that. We don't do anything like that. And we have crazy numbers. But advertisement, we do events. We have our actors will come and dress up and stuff, and they'll go out and promote the event out in public. And that gets a lot of pretty positive reception because people video, they photo shoot and stuff. This upcoming year, something that we're going to be trying new is we used to have a policy in place, Jake, that folks couldn't bring their phones out in the experience. We were very no phones. We didn't want phones. We felt that they were a distraction. We felt that people would get held up recording or turning on the flashlight. And in a haunted house, we don't want that. However, we've thought about it a lot, and a lot of those photos and videos that they take on there go on social media. And when people are posting that and saying, hey, got, totally scared at this place, you guys should check it out, that's free advertisement. So we are going to allow phones in the New Year's haunt, which is a new advertising strategy that we're taking. But mostly it's word of mouth. I mean, Monroe's not a very big city. That's where we're based out of, Monroe, North Carolina. And 14 years in the business, everyone in the state, or everyone in our area of the state, kind of knows who we are. The North Carolina community of haunts, there's a few other really good haunts here in North Carolina, and we're all kind of close together in relationship wise. We're pretty spread out over the state, and we kind of have a beneficial relationship. Like, oh, you came to my haunt this weekend, there's another haunt a few hours away, you guys should go check them out. And by the end of haunt season, they'll probably tour. Most of the people who are into the haunt stuff will tour like most of the haunts in North Carolina.
That's awesome. So really, you guys don't have this like elaborate marketing strategy of Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Like, do you see that as an opportunity? I guess, A, do you even have room to bring more guests to your haunt? And B, if so, do you see, digital social media ads being an extra avenue for you guys?
So that's a really interesting question, Jake, because that last year, like I said, it was a huge year for us. It was insane. And we were definitely maxed out. I mean, pushed to our absolute max on some of those nights last year. I mean, that a few thousand people coming through this haunt, and it was tight. It was packed. I mean, we were having people going through. It almost lost its value, I would say, to some of the customers because there were so many of them, and they're like, wow, there's, So that's what the goal is for this year, expanding it and obviously building multiple attractions that can kind of, spread the people out. I believe in years past, we've tried social media marketing and we've done the Facebook ads, the Instagram ads, all that fun stuff. And we might return to it with all the new stuff that we're offering. As of that, I really don't know what our strategy is going to be with that kind of stuff. I know we've done it in years past. I know last year we were maxed out, and this year we have built it up so we can accept way more people, have hopefully way less waits, as well as some other stuff, like the bar and the VIP experiences and stuff like that, so people can kind of get a custom tailored experience.
So you mentioned last year people had to wait a long time to get in. Have you guys ever considered going to a timed entry experience where, hey, there's only 500 tickets available between 10 and 10:30 and 500 from 10:30 to 11 to reduce those lines and increase the consumer experience?
So we do something similar to that, right? So when you do buy a ticket, say you, Jake, are coming to the 13th Acre, you would park your car, you go up to the ticket booth, say, hey, I want a ticket for the 13th Acre. And then you go into this area known as the Stomping Grounds. And the Stomping Grounds is a waiting area. However, there's like live music, there's a campfire, there's some of our iconic characters are there that you can do photo ops with and stuff like that. There's food and drinks. And then you have sort of a colored ticket, I believe is what we did in years past, and they would call the color of your ticket, and then your group would go in, right? So you were waiting, but it's not like standing in a line and waiting. It's like you're in the stomping ground area. So in addition to the new haunts and stuff being built, our stomping ground area is going to be expanded, which means there's going to be more to do while you wait.
Got it. So that's kind of your way to combat if you do get a big rush. It's like, hey, no worries. You guys still have something fun to do. I think that's it's a really great topic that I want to pause on for a second as we kind of wrap this thing up. We only have a couple more minutes. But you have lines. You know that nobody likes to wait in lines. Or not lines, but like nobody likes to wait. I'm impatient. If I see a line if I know I have to wait, peace out, see you later, not doing it. Because I only have so many hours in the day. And if I have to wait around forever, I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'll come back at a different time. I literally just did it at like 3 restaurants on Sunday, when I was trying to find breakfast. Like, line? Nope, peace out, I'm gone. But what you guys did is very interesting. It's like, hey, this isn't a line. Like, hey, you checked in, you got your ticket, good to go. Now we're going to give you an additional experience while you, quote, wait. That probably psychologically speaking, you're probably not going to think that you're waiting in a line, but it's the same thing. Whether you're waiting in a line, or you're waiting in this area, not, quote, in a line, you're still waiting, which is accomplishing the same thing as is you're waiting till it's your turn. But you turn that negative experience, having to sit in a line and look at some bald guy's head in front of you, into something where you can walk around, grab a corn dog, grab a beer, socialize with your friends, whatever. And then when time is ready, somebody's going to call you, say, hey, purple ticket people, let's go. Smurfs unite or whatever. I think that's so cool because there's so many opportunities in any event that we're talking about where we have mundane, like neutral experiences that we can turn into a positive experience. You guys turned a long line that's super boring into probably a positive, fun experience that has its own name, the Stomping Grounds, where they can go have a positive experience. Is there anything else that you guys do kind of similar to that? Because that's super interesting. I really like what you guys did there.
Yeah, I mean, with the Stomping Ground stuff, we have all kinds of events, and with the new expansion, there's going to be more. But like in previous years, we've even done like axe throwing there, right? So you're actually doing events while you're waiting and stuff and getting your photos and stuff. But as far as that stuff goes, I mean, that's really our strategy there. We do have fast lane passes, right? Which means that you can get in with groups ahead and stuff like that. We do have a fast pass system, and we have VIP pass systems, which for the new year is going to be pretty cool because with the VIP package, obviously you get all this cool stuff. You get your own private lounge, all that fun stuff, but also you get to be part of the scare. So part of this like reinventing strategy that we're doing is like the first scare of one of the mazes. If you have a VIP pass, you get to go in and you get to actually be a part of that scare. You get to scare the people. So we're just trying to think of all different kinds of ways to like, give people different experiences and kind of change up some things just a little bit,
I really like that in that, hey, like this is the same experience, right? But here's something a little extra that we can offer for a new experience without completely reinventing the wheel. We're just tweaking something here, tweaking something there. So you have a completely new experience with the foundational building blocks that we already have for our event. Absolutely love that. David, as we wrap this thing up, if there's like one piece of advice that you'd like to give to a listener who might be just starting out organizing events, or maybe they've been doing it for 30 years, they just want a fresh idea, what would that one thing be?
Well, I'd have to go back, make full circle, outline it, and understand that it's a journey. You're not going to start being the biggest, greatest thing in your industry, right? Whether it's music or whatever. It's all baby steps. Okay. So like you literally just said you're not reinventing anything, right? You're just taking something small and tweaking it. And as an event organizer, that's really important because you're going on this journey. You're building up your event from scratch, most likely. And you're just taking small things, tweaking it, You're building the roadmap to where you want to be. And so that way, one day you can potentially get there. You can make your event the greatest thing. Just know you're not there yet, and there's a lot of steps to get there. Okay?
And that's one of the best things is you can have a big end game in mind, but know that it's a journey. If you want your hunt to get to 25,000 people a year, you got to start with 1,000. Then you got to start with 5,000. And then you got to get there. You're not going to come out swinging for 25K the first year, unless you have like $1 million budget to just throw money at. And in that case, it's probably like owning a winery. You only own a winery if you want to lose money. So you have to go through these growing pains to really figure out the foundations of this. David, I can't thank you enough for joining me on this episode today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I genuinely appreciate it.
Hey, you bet, man. If you don't know them or you're in the North Carolina area, you got to check them out. 13th Acre Haunted House. Sounds like it's going to be a great time. If I wasn't on the opposite side of the country, I'd be there in a heartbeat. That's this week's episode with the 13th Acre and David from the Haunt Crew and the creative guy behind it all. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Event Academy Live.
Thank you for listening to the Event Academy Live podcast.
This show is powered by Fusion.
Event solutions for the modern event organizer. Don't forget to like, rate, and review. We hope you enjoyed the show. Until next week, keep leveling up, fellow event organizers.